Hello, welcome back. This is your captain speaking on behalf of Tartarian Airlines. And today, as you see, we are going to be visiting Mecca. It's called other things by other people, and I don't really care enough to give it a proper name because, um, to me, this is probably the most satanic location in the world. We will get into that here in a little bit, but right now we're just looking at photos, and I didn't know that these huge, massive buildings were like right there. I honestly didn't know the surroundings of it in the first place. But when checking this out on Google Maps, I saw these big, huge, like Tartarian shaped buildings. I was like, what the heck? How have I not heard of this before or seen these images? I think it's just crazy how some of these some of these locations just are not shown to the world as much. I mean, maybe I'm an infidel and, I deserve, whatever they hand out to infidels. But, this looks like, let's talk about the building, the way it looks. It looks Tartarian. Humans built it, and they got the big archways there. Like, all the other Tartarian buildings that we think were made for giants. But humans made this. So, this whole place is just really weird. But I figure let's check it out in style. Just went through the pre-flight check. Looks like we're all clear to take off. Let's do it in style. Let's explore in a private jet. Thanks to the King of Saudi Arabia for loaning it to us. Just joking. I own it. So here we go. And yeah, I did a little poll on the Facebook group, and I appreciate those that participated and voted. The combo style with the jet and the drone. I personally like taking off in a jet, hearing the sound, stuff like that. And I have it set on easy mode, really, so that we can enjoy. I mean, a real plane like this, if I'm going full throttle, I can't stay this low. I have to fly. I have to keep going higher. So I think it'll stall out or something because the air is so dense. But I do have it set on easy mode. That way we can enjoy the flight and not really worry about the specifics of all these different aircraft that this game has. I call it a game because, I mean, it's fun. It's fun, and it's on my Xbox. So, to me, I consider it a game. But as I start exploring this, I mean, I'm really using it as a tool. And I find myself playing this game more than the others, actually, just because I really love the way this stuff looks. And, the buildings aren't really exact, but then, then you go check on Google Earth or something, and it's exactly the same in some areas. Like, whatever that is, that nuclear plant or whatever. I mean, it's exactly there. Those circles are there. And what we're about to see, I mean, that the location, Mecca, where the cube is at, I mean, it's just insane. Look at that. You can see it from there, the tower. When I go visit these places, I don't really, I mean, I know the direction coming from the airport, but I hadn't really been here before, so part of me was kind of looking around to see, and I did see that tower, and so I went like pretty much in that direction because I was like, well, I didn't know that there was a big tower next to it, and I just figured that they would want you to see it, so they would put a tower next to it, right? I mean, if you're traveling to go there and you're doing a pilgrimage, you would want the people to see where they're going. And I mean, I guess, I don't know. I don't really do it or know that much about it. All I really know is that there's a black cube there, and honestly, it's to me just looking at it, it looks creepy. You know, I mean, it looks like that movie, The Transformers, and not just the Transformer movie, but like there are so many other movies that have like the cube as the focal point, or the all spark, the thing that created life. But this is so I'm just kind of wondering, like, why is this is obviously Saturn worship, because that's what is that's that's what like his symbol is, or that's what they attribute uh, Satan and Saturn are the same, and they attribute the cube and the rings around it as Saturn. And so if this is Saturn worship, then this is satanic worship. This is even proof of the Freemasons with the cube, and this is like the Masonic keystone, apparently. I don't know. And this just goes to show just evidence of a secret society, maybe the main secret society. Definitely George Washington, and if not every single president, is a part of this group, the Freemasons. And then there's the cube that the Freemasons hold dearly, I guess. I'm not really sure why I chose this topic. I think I was just kind of surfing on the game and looking for sites to explore, and then that popped up, and I was like, well, I'm gonna check it out. But what really freaked me out is, look at that. That's a cloth, right? And apparently, the Ark of the Covenant was held in a cube room. So this is the Christianity, right? And this is the tabernacle, and this is where the Ark of the Covenant was first held at. And then they built this bigger structure to house it, but it's always been in a cube room. So even Christianity has the cube worship, I guess. Look at this, a perfect cube room. That's what they say is 30 by 30 by 30 or whatever. And the cube is even in Christianity. And then here's the Islamic, worship. Um, Mecca, I guess, or whatever it's called, Kaaba. It's the number one destination or pilgrimage for Islam. This is the number one location. And isn't the Ark of the Covenant the number one location for Christianity? So it seems kind of similar. They use a cloth, a drapery to separate the outside from the cube with the Ark of the Covenant in it. And I mean, so it's like, and then it's like the structure. Is this Tartarian looking structure, or did the Tartarians use Atlantean structures that are even older than the Tartarians? There's those questions, like, because the Tartarian civilization was really just over in Asia and Russia, but yet there's buildings that look like this all around the whole world. And wasn't Atlantis maybe like a global civilization? And aren't all those buildings like the star forts and the white cities of the world fairs, aren't they all like next to water? And Atlantis is known to be surrounded by water. Maybe this is not all Tartarian structure, but this is Atlantean. regardless, we still emulate it to this day. Like, I mean, maybe not America so much. Seems kind of gaudy, but they could have built it any way like they wanted, but for some reason, this was a very holy site, and they built that structure to look like that. Hmm. I don't know. It seems. I mean, it's crazy. So, I mean, this building is huge. This clock is like 10 times bigger than the clock at Big Ben. Look at that. And of course, yeah, it looks trashed. That's what I mean. It's kind of gaudy. I mean, it looks nice and shiny, but it looks like a play toy. It doesn't really look, kind of like Ashgabat. Um, it just looks kind of like a play toy, and just looks too gaudy. But they still built it in the, I would call it Atlantean style, the structure. It just looks absolutely amazing. Look at that. So this building, apparently, this tower alone can hold 100,000 people, but the whole structure around it, it's all the other buildings around it can. It's like a whole hotel structure. You see all those buildings there, number two. All those buildings together house apparently 1 million people, and it cost 8% of Saudi Arabia's GDP. 8% of their entire wealth went to building this mega structure to house 1 million people for. I mean, you talk about, like, where did they get this money from? Is it oil, or are they getting it from the people who are pilgrimaging? Pilgr- pil- Pilgrimage, whatever. But yeah, look at that. That's just absolutely. Now the structure around the cube is apparently from this like the 600s, like 638 or 639 or something. Of course, they renovated it and stuff, but I mean, they spent 8% of their entire wealth to build this, to hold 1 million people. And maybe like what a room is $100 a pop. Here's another name that they call it, the Mecca Royal Hotel Clock Tower. It is a mega tall structure. There's a location. There's the government company that built it, and then look at the main contractor, Saudi bin I can't say it group. Wow, I wouldn't trust anything coming from them. A 5-story shopping mall housing or parking 1,000 vehicles, like this thing has a lunar observation center too. That's just absolutely wild. That's some. Oh yeah, it costs like $3 billion to make. All owned by the government. So yeah, that was pretty crazy. I really didn't know about those buildings, and I didn't even realize that there was a tower there. Like I never heard about that in the news. But anyways, that concludes our information for this video. If you are interested in seeing how I do landing this thing, then continue watching. But we'll go and play some tunes and try to land this thing. So I appreciate your time, and we'll see you in the next country. Peace.